Hi guys, what's going on? David Feldman-Makrias here, and today what we're going to be talking about is some Google Ads optimization specifically for performance mix and shopping campaigns. This is June 2023, and I want to go over this template and show you exactly what it means, what we're talking about, and break down each section. So, Define Digital Academy, that is not my company. That is actually a YouTuber, Aaron Young. If you like some of these templated items, go ahead and check it out. But I wanted to use this because I thought it was a really good template. I can't give it to you guys because you got to go subscribe to his email list to get some of this. But I thought it was really, really good, at least to start with, as far as optimizing Google Ads campaigns for shopping and performance mag specifically. So let's get into this. What we're going to talk about today specifically is product title reviews. So if you've been watching any of my stuff about Google Ads, the search term review or the search term audit for both search campaigns and shopping campaigns is very, very important, right? I mean, that's one of the most important reports that you're ever gonna use inside Google Ads because it actually gives you the search queries that people are searching for that your ads show up for, and if they generated any clicks or conversions, so on and so forth. Now, with Google Analytics 4 becoming the main source of Google Analytics reporting, that might change as far as being able to track conversions accurately and revenue accurately. We'll just have to wait and see with that. However, it's still a very, very important report because, again, you get to see search queries that you show up for that your ads trigger. So rather than talk about search term audits, if you'd like a more in-depth analysis and just like a practical review about search term audits and how to add negative keywords, let me know. But I wanted to talk a little bit about product title reviews. Okay. So this optimization checklist for shopping and performance max is specific to e-commerce, and it has all these different steps. I think Aaron and his team did a really nice job of composing this and giving you a time frame of when to do each item, right? So I just wanted to take it a little bit further and go over an example of looking at a product title review. So what I'm going to do is jump into this, but before I do, note he says to do it every 90 days. So I think it's good to have it as a recurring item. 90 days, especially if you're taking over an account and maybe you haven't done it in a while. 90 days might be a little bit long. If you're more fresh to the account or you haven't done this in way longer than 90 days, then I would recommend making some changes in optimizations, but also reviewing it sooner than 90 days. That would be my ad hoc revision to that. Plus, if you are taking over a account, or if you have ran Google Ads for quite a while, and you have seen good performance, but then you've also seen variance in performance, I'm always skeptical of changing anything, because if it's not broken, don't fix it, right? I've gotten into situations where I've tried to optimize, and I guess it was an over optimization to where I was trying to make something better, but I actually made something worse. So just be careful of that too. I'm always of the focus. If you're going to change something, don't do it in a way where it's to absolutely everything. Maybe you want to change a few things, test it out, make sure you're doing it right, and make sure it's performing the right way. Because the last thing you would want to do is go ahead and change all your product titles to find out you made performance worse, because now you're doubling or tripling the work with a net negative outcome. So let me go over what this actually means. First, let's read his steps here. This says product title review. On setup and then review every 90 days, especially if you are seeing declining impressions or impression share or if you have a large inventory of products, test on one or two product categories first. So he pretty much says kind of the same thing, right? If you're receiving a lower impression share, a lower amount of impressions than you normally would have, um, or if you have a lot of products, test on a couple of categories first. So that's pretty good. What he says, and this again is for shopping in PMAX, right? Use all 150 characters with the most important details in the first 70 characters. Include your brand name, your product type, your keywords, modifiers like gender, size, color, materials in your title. And then finally, review search terms to find keywords to add to your product titles. So, after doing that, I've already reviewed a lot of search terms. I'm pretty familiar with the example I'm going to go through. What I do is the following. I really like this checklist. I'm familiar with working with Google Sheets and Excel. If you're in Google Ads, you should be pretty familiar here as well. So what I did was I went to my Google Ads account and I downloaded a report of the last month and all the data along with it, including the product title. So I actually took that and I put it in another tab in this Google Sheet. So often as I stem from operations, right? We could just go make another Excel sheet and save it somewhere and whatever. Why not just centralize and keep everything on the same Google Sheet? Because if you get into this space, you'll find that you're just making docs and sheets and all these different documents to do something where you just want to minimize as much as possible. So that's one thing I'd recommend, that to take this a little bit further, right? Make a Google Sheet, download a report, and then put it as another tab. You can automate this process. You can make it more advanced. You can like create scripts to like download it right in here so you don't even have to physically do that. You can get there too, right? You know, crawl, walk, run. But let's actually look at some of the product title reviews. Okay, so here's the report initially, and this is directly from Google Ads that I exported and put in my Google Sheet. Notice I have a couple different tabs here because I'm playing with the formatting, but you only need to have one. So notice I formatted my sheet in a very specific way. I also have some things deleted for privacy of my client. So if we look here, we have title, we have title character, we have new title. Oh, that's a blank one. New title. This is supposed to be new title. And then new title character length. And I would like to do that so I could show you exactly what I do as far as creating new titles and optimizing specifically. I'll show you an actual example here in a second, but this format is directly from our client account. So I have everything in here and I added two additional columns. One column I add again was title character length after title, and then I added new title because I want to look at them side by side, and new title character length. The reason I did that is because I want to know how many characters I'm actually using. Pretty simple to do that. If you're in Google Sheets or in Excel, you can type in len equals len of the specific cell, and then you click on this, and that'll give you, I'll put in here test, and then the length of the cell. That'll give you, okay, there's 4 characters in this cell. So that's pretty useful, right? When you're building any sort of Google Sheet, any sort of Excel doc, and that's why we're going to use it here. So now I'm going to jump over to my copy sheet where, again, I'm doing this out of privacy, right? But I have a couple examples that I can utilize, and I'm going to show you here in a second. Okay, so here are 2 examples. This client has a lot more than 2 products. They have nearly 1,000, but I only wanted to take 2 to show you just as rough examples. So a couple things are stripped out here, right? I'm not including the brand for privacy purposes, and I'm not including all the metrics of all the products. But you can pretty much take this and use it as a template. So here's one product, Yomix 2651 Greek style yogurt culture / recipe. So that was my original title. I show that to be 45 character length. Okay. So when I look at the character length here, I can see what character length do we need? We need 150. So if I come back here, I got a lot of characters to play with, right? So, and start with the 70 that are most important. So first off, it's Greek style yogurt culture. I think that's pretty important. I do include Yomix 2651 and I include that. I'm actually not sure about the parentheses part. I might have to reformat that. But I do include that because that is, if anybody's specifically searching for that type of Greek style yogurt mix, that's very, very specific. And I do want to come up for that pretty quickly, right? So then, if I keep going on here, it's Greek style yogurt culture, Yomix 2651 by brand. Of course, the brand, I would actually put the name of the company selling it because it's a great place to put it in there. Then I include recipe, vanilla beans in or small, large bottles, 50 gallon to 100 gallon, available. That's what I have reference for. In this actual product, those are the variants, right? Those are the variants, and those are the actual add ons to the product that make the product a little more unique. So that's why I included that at the top. I met a 136 new title character length, which is a far cry away from 45. I actually probably have a little more room to put some things in here, but I want to make sure my formatting is correct. But it's a lot better than my initial one. So that would be one way to optimize that title. Again, I'm not just trying to keyword stuff it. That's like old school SEO, and it's frowned upon. It doesn't really do the same job as it used to. It's you're doing things for the search engine, but keywords are still pretty important, right? Keywords are still pretty important, even with AI, even with ChatGPT, even with Bard. You want to make sure you have the most relevant keywords, search phrases, search queries that people are looking for in your product title, and always do a priority descension, meaning you keep the top priority first, and then you descend priorities from there. So that's example number one. Example number two, Dutch style cheese press dash hardwood. Okay, I know what this product is. It's a Dutch style cheese press, which is a very specific type of cheese press, right? But again, I'm only using 36 characters. How can we optimize that a little bit better? Well, let's click on this one. Dutch style cheese press. Press 100 pounds of any cheese. That's a little bit more of description text, but when you see that in the actual ad placement, viewers might say, oh, wow, well, they're going to press 100 pounds of any cheese with this? Wow, okay, awesome. And then I do it by brand, right? By brand, whoever that for the company name. And then I also include some other items and other variants that is included with the product. Draining tray and weight available, right? So it's like, okay, that's available. And then I also put a little something that's relevant for the consumer, handcrafted and made in, I'll put the USA. See, I'm still work in progress, everybody. I'm always a work in progress, forever work in progress. But as you can tell, I'm at 131 new title character length versus 36. So that's how we further optimize these titles. Now, if you have clients with a lot of titles, it does make a big difference. It does make a big difference to actually alter these titles and test them. But I want to give you a quick tip here because, especially if you have a lot of product titles. I was originally, or just a second ago, I was in this sheet looking at product titles. Now I'm back in this one because I want to show you something about, well, okay, gee, David, I have 1,000 products. It's going to take me a while to rewrite every single product title and test that. How can I go about that quickly? So here's what I did. What I did is I exported this sheet. It's May 2023, and I compared it against last year at the same time. Okay. That's why you see in some of these columns it says compare to and then change and change. When you see that, that means there's a comparison date range, right? So what I did was I descended by impression because I want to make sure I'm changing the title of the products that matter the most, or at least looking at the products that matter the most right away. So I'm sorting by descending impression. Okay. So now from this, I'm going to go on and I'm going to move my face here. And one thing he said in his, Aaron Young said in his optimization checklist, it says, if you're seeing declining impressions or impression share. So that's exactly what I'm going to look for. And I'm going to look for it like this. I'm already descending in impressions. And what I'm looking for is, I'm actually not just looking for impression declination. Is that a word? That'd be cool if that's a word. I don't know if that is. I also like looking at the percent clicks change, right? Because I feel like that's very, very important too. So the reason I'm not looking at any of these 100% is because, okay, I mean, there's like no clicks on this. Even though this had a lot of impressions, there's no clicks anyways. It kind of doesn't matter, right? So this product got 20 clicks, but no clicks. It's like, okay, there might be some discrepancy. I want to figure out why exactly those products aren't getting any clicks. Sometimes, though, when you look at that, it's like, okay, they're not serving those products anymore. So I actually go down from the 100% change and I look for something that's a little bit more relevant. Here's a product that would be relevant. It says 85% click change. We are down 69 clicks from 81 to 12. So it's like, okay, that one I'm going to highlight, right? That one I'm going to highlight and understand exactly why that has gone down. And not just understand that, I'm going to look at the product title. What can I do to help enhance that product? Again, you can make changes in Google Ads until you're blue in the face. However, I heard this expression recently and I think it's great. You want to make the you want to have the best change for the most amount of impact. So you can think of it as the small hinge to swing the big door. What can you tweak just a little bit that's going to make the most impact and difference, right? So that's an example. Here's another example, down 75% in overall clicks from 61 to 15. That's another example here because that's more of a significant amount of click drop, right? You could go based off click drop, but I'm doing percentages here. Here's some of the bigger ones I saw too. When I start to see, like, I didn't see any products that had clicks in the hundreds just in my scroll, right? If I scroll back up, it was tens, 20s, ones, twos, whatever. Now, when I scroll down here, I'm seeing some of the bigger clicked items. From 167 to 96, from 394 to 233, I'm down 161 in clicks. That's a 40% decrease. So, and I also notice my impressions have a decrease here too, about 8,100 impressions light. So there's only a couple things that can play into that, right? It's what campaign type am I using, what budgets am I using, and let's make sure my product title is showing and relevant. So these products I've already started to highlight because these are the products that when I make changes to, and if the changes are successful, those are going to be the small hinge changes that swing the big door. These products matter a lot to the client. They bring good revenue in, so on and so forth. So it's not just like, oh my gosh, let me change 1,000 product titles. I mean, sure, if you have the time, go ahead, but start with the ones that have the biggest impact, and you can do that by sorting by impression and then filtering out the clicks and clicks comparisons. If you don't have a comparison from year over year, you can use month over month, or a time period over time period. I would recommend at least 3 to 4 weeks. 2 weeks and less is just not enough. When you have 3 to 4 weeks, I think it goes better and you can actually make more insights. I mean, if you have 90 days worth of data like Aaron Young and Define Digital Academy expresses, I would do that as well. But this gives you a little better of a way to go about using this template and help further your cause as far as increasing the performance on your overall product ads. Okay, guys, that's pretty much it. That's what I got today. I will be going through more of this Google Ads optimization checklist. I think it's funny because he's not in America. He spells optimization with an S, where I spell it with a Z. And then colors in here too is COLOURS instead of COLORS. Whatever. So I'll be going through more of this as we keep going, but I thought it would be pretty helpful and at least take a little bit further on how to analyze the actual best product titles to change. And one thing again, I would recommend. I'm going to bring it up one more time. Make sure you're testing right. If you just go ahead and change all the titles at once and think you're doing a good job and just leave it for 90 days, really would not recommend that. Take a sample, 5, 10, 15 products a month, optimize the title, go from there. If you want to test more, go ahead. But maybe if you're not sure of your test or how it's going to work, or if you're going to, affect your audience by changing the product title, test a few at a time. Okay, guys, see you in the next video. David Feldman-Makrias here. Peace.